Yes, here we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to talk number 39. Today we have Yogesh Dandekar, who is the founder of Sarg Design Studio in Pune. Um, Yogesh has chosen to speak about what he calls as two parallel lines. So I will keep the mystery of what that means for him to reveal in this presentation. Very interestingly, he has aligned uh, the work that he does to the kind of personal introspection that he goes through, and he said he will kind of weave both of it together in his presentation. Yogesh is passed out from IDC from the batch of 98 PD. Prior to that, Yogesh holds a degree in architecture. As far as his professional experience is concerned, he has got extensive experience in the domain of transport. So he had stints in places like Philips Design, Eureka Moments, as it is called now. And also, I think a great deal of his career got set when he did some interesting projects in Tata Elxsi. And this Sarg Studio also has come out of a lot of his experience in executing some projects in Tata Elxsi. So, but I see Yogesh as a very passionate person, not just about design, but has got, from what I've known of him in the last few interactions, very passionate about taking up very challenging design issues, and he has dedicated himself to put all his energies in solving and coming up with creative ways to address the problems related to transport. And it's amazing. I mean, it's the way he has shaped his career, aligned his passion, and put all his expertise to solve some very core issues of our urban transportation. So with that, I would not take too much of your time. I would like to hand over the session to Yogesh. And Yogesh, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Ravi and Nimish, thanks a lot. We had a brief chat yesterday, and I really thank both of you to put all these things together. It's actually a pleasure to talk to our alma mater, and I think uh, you are a very big extended family with which nothing would have been possible. And as I said, I was just talking to Ravi yesterday, and it's going to be almost completing 1 year very soon. We are on the 39th talk. So it's possibly that within another few weeks, maybe 10, 15 weeks, we'll complete 1 year, and we should have a big round of applause for Ravi and Nimish to carry it on for a year. Anyway, so when Ravi asked me that, would you be able to do a presentation? I said, yes, I would be glad to share what I've been doing. Then I started thinking about what I can share, and I kind of thought there is nothing to be given as a gyan. I would like to stay away from any jargon, any major things, but I'll just tell some small stories. I'll show a lot of photographs of the work that I've done, and through them, I'll probably unfold how my life probably has I would not say changed, but evolved over last 20, 23 years. And that was what I thought I should present. And through that, I'll probably tell some stories, and it'll be interesting. So just enjoy the ride of what I'm going to be showing. So I think why I started with, and I'll put a lot of sketches and things that I've been doing continuously across. So what triggered me is why we do and what we do, and that's like that why I'm here on earth and all those kind of thoughts. So I didn't go in that direction, but I'm saying why we do and what we do. These two sketches I'd made long time back. One was actually looking at a bird which was sitting next to me when I was sitting in some resort somewhere, and I quickly painted it. On the other side, you can see that there is a small digital screen through which you have started seeing everything. So basically, it's shifted from observing what is real color around you to a color which is curated by somebody else around you. So I don't know where we are going. So there is something that you yourself can enjoy and keep it to yourself. And there is something that is coming across to you when you are looking at the world nowadays. So that's why I gave my talk this title of Two Parallel Lines. And what I found out is, as you grow as a designer or maybe an engineer or maybe an entrepreneur or whatever it is, there is on one side you are searching for something. You are searching for that thing which you really want to do. It can define you. And on the other side, there is a world around you which actually defines you. It actually gives you opportunities, gets you chances. So there is something that you get, which is from the outside. And then there is something that you're continuously searching, which is coming from within inside. Probably these are the two lines that I'm talking about. I don't know maybe how it will evolve. And I will not give anybody a very good mark of guessing why these two lines come in my talk, because I'm a railway fan. This is a photograph that Sandeep Dhomre took, my batchmate took on the terrace of IDC after the jury was over. This was my graduation project where I redesigned the train compartment, and I've been constantly trying to strive towards getting into that domain. Still, I'm trying to get into the domain, and of course, I have my wish to get into there, definitely. So let me start by what was Yogesh 1.0. It was really the time when I was searching for a tune. I did some retail, exhibition, wayfinding products, and a lot of other things. I even created my Sarg Design Studio at that time. And it was a very small 8 feet by 8 feet space somewhere in Pune. I started in 2000. And then Delhi Metro happened. Now, Delhi Metro actually changed the course. It only had a small...
just a sec. I think your screen, you just need to share it again.
Yeah.
Do I need to share it again?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me just share it again.
Or no, actually it is there. It got unpinned. Something happened.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, it is fine. No, I think we are seeing Atul Rajwade's screen.
Oh.
Is it happening for everyone?
Yes, it's happening for everyone. I think Atul should stop sharing the screen. Yeah.
Atul?
We can see it.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, I was trying to put it on my TV screen. For some reason, it got my screen is getting shared. Sorry, I'm just putting it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's fine, Atul. So just let me know when the screen comes up.
One more thing to learn. Yeah.
It's already there. I think we just need to pin it. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's fine. We will just need to pin the. So maybe you can unshare and share again so that for everyone it's fine.
I'll unshare and share it again.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that Delhi Metro only had the small railway component into it, that it was a train running on tracks. But it excited me to get involved into it. And it was a project which actually has defined urban transport and how it is going to work in India as well. And I got a chance to work on it. And as I said, I had already established Sarg in 2000 in a very small space. And that was a beginning for me. And even the Delhi Metro work happened where I was as a Sarg, but working as a consultant in Delhi. So this actually is a project where you are trying to create a system which is more legible. And today it is serving a population of 46 million. That's like few countries in Europe put together. And that's the kind of huge impact that you make when you kind of get involved into projects at this scale. So I generally use this image. This probably couple is trying to find its way, looking at the map, which we did in 2000. So in 2000, when we had started working on it, that entire map was designed, but it was only phased out and shown partly as the lines open. But people kind of use it every day. And that's like, gives you goosebumps, millions of people are using that to trace and find trips. It's a very simple thing. So if you start talking of maps, I'm not a graphic designer, but because industrial design teaches you to understand systems and how to communicate very well. So I got a chance to do a lot of maps. So I'll just show a few of them. So this is the Delhi that you already saw. Then we created one for Bangalore. Now, this was created in Bangalore, where Bangalore people already knew the roads. So we added roads as a part of the metro network. Probably in another 2-3 years time, the roads will go, because metro will start defining the city. The next one that we made was for Chennai, which shows the MRTS network into it and the interchanges. Then we created one for monorail, which is again showing its connectivity to the 2-3 lines of the suburban railways. Then we created one for Kochi Metro, which also shows the water network which recently opened. And I have been instrumental in putting foundation for how that water metro should be. And then the Nagpur Metro, which recently opened about 5 years back. Then I got a chance to work on a map in Dar es Salaam in BRTS, and that's in Tanzania. And that was again an interesting case study for me to share, that how a bus system can be put up, how the feeder system can be put up. And this is the recent map that we did for Mumbai. And this has already been up, the post that everybody has been seeing on the LinkedIn network, where now this map will redefine traveling in Mumbai. So all those maps and every signage and typography and how do you build it and everything put together, now your work is a part of the landscape. You come out of Chowri Bazaar and it's just a part of that entire busy environment. I don't know what to make a sense of it, but maybe you have now, whatever you have done is a part of this large shared place called a city. You can't take it out. Sometimes you get chances to do some projects which become anonymous. There's no name on this. I did this for United Nations as a deep well pump, which pulls out water from very deep wells where there is no electricity. So I collaborated with two mechanical engineers. They created the pump mechanism. I created the playwheel, and it's an open source code. No patent. It's been put out in Africa and a lot of places in India, and anybody can get that code from UNICEF or UNDP and then implement it. Some projects definitely make a big impact. So while you're doing a lot of work, it still brings you back to railways. You know, I started doing backpack tours in railways. I've done few of them so far, 2-3 of them. And I do a round ticket, go across, stay on trains, stay on stations. I've not stayed in the hotel in the entire journey that you see over here. Go to some places which I want to visit, observe trains, observe railways, observe stations, how the city and stations are connected, what is the transport around. And it helps you to really see how things change around transport. Now I come to number 2. So it's Yogesh 2.0. So I tried my level best and created a complete domain of practice in Elxsi. And I found a rhythm. I did a lot of retail and experience spaces, and part of that, that was also a major contribution that I did at Elxsi, where I've been spearheading a lot of projects, which now Elxsi is now very well doing. In addition to that, I worked on a lot of transport projects, and that was a good synergy that I found, that an organization of that scale can actually be tuned rightly to deliver on very large projects of national interest. So apart from the transport, who will leave a chance of creating an experience center for the Tata Group on their 150th anniversary? So this is an experience center that's designed in Tata Group. It's head office, ground floor. It is open for visitors. It's called TXC. And the whole brief was no hard sell. It has to be a place where any visitor comes in, experiences what the group is, and just walks out. And there is no hard sell. It is a very subtle entry into the space. You cleanse yourself, go through the values. Technology slowly is open to you to an extent that you end into a futuristic display, and even impact theater, which shows the social impact. So I was leading the team which created the whole choreography, the interiors, which content will come, and it was a huge collaborative effort between multiple agencies to do the entire content, the interiors, the spaces, and everything. So beyond that, what actually has been one of the remarkable contribution that I feel I can connect to beyond many projects that I've worked. A small story. I was sitting in and making a presentation to the MD of the Kochi Metro. And I still remember that very clearly. I made him a presentation saying that, sir, if you want to make a project, don't look at them as infrastructure projects. Somebody's doing architecture, somebody's doing trains, somebody's doing stations, somebody's doing the engineering, somebody's doing signaling, somebody's doing the marketing. Don't do that in a separate way. Let us all fit all of them together, and let's bring customer centricity into that entire system. MD said, great, how can I work with you? So we said, sir, you cannot directly work with us. you will have to put out a tender. So we helped them to put out a tender. That tender, we participated and we won that tender. And you know, tendering and working with the government is kind of a thing that gives nightmares to designers. And somehow I've been very comfortable doing that. And with the back of TATA Elxsi, of course, that was very much possible, and we did it very well. What that project actually led us to do is designing guidelines for passenger-centric experience for Metro, and probably a dream project for an industrial designer to work on. What we did, we worked on the train design. Of course, there is a limited contribution that you can make because the train is already designed with a lot of safety concerns and everything. It's on the front or adding few features, changing the colors. You can intervene into the color, CMF, do a bit of screens and data science inside. But yes, you work on the trains. To the other extent, you can design the tickets of the system, or you can design the entire brand. So I just saw on a group today that there's somebody who commented on the water metro. I still remember in 2017 or 18, I was sitting with them to craft out, now we have done the metro, how can you create a water metro, and help them to write the entire RFP for it. That what you can borrow from the metro project and put it into the water metro, and a complete new RFP was created. So we created a brand that can sustain and probably go across the entire city. Or you created an app, and then you also created special design for the machines, which are ticket machines, including the UX that happen on the scene. So what actually happened is, because there was a company with multiple assets and it had a multidisciplinary team, it was a very good combination that you could put that entire paraphernalia into good use. And this was a project which actually used all the aspects of what TATA Elxsi could offer. And we are probably one of the only agencies who could do it. And we kind of harnessed that and absorbed that opportunity. And that helped us to win the If Design Award, which was probably the first for the company as well. And then it actually helped me realize that there is a lot that we can do beyond just kind of working on small silos and come to a slightly more strategic involvement with the companies. So towards the end of probably the time that I spent in Elxsi, and I've built the complete domain, and now it's kind of flourishing well. There's one learning that I always got, and I also give to the people who are working in large companies also, that there is always a debate between entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial employees. And that's a new thing that I should talk about this, that it's always much better option as a part of a system that you keep your entrepreneurial attitude staying within a company, because there is a certain amount of cushion. And failures are a learning opportunity, not for an individual, but for a bigger team. Yeah. Then it is drive action and own it. If that happens inside a company, you can do really wonders. And that I could do it in a large organization like that. And don't worry, take initiatives. You feel lonely at times, but it doesn't go waste. And that's something very important for people who are working in companies. So coming back to my passion of, okay, what's connection with railways? So I joined the Jagrati Yatra as a facilitator. You can scan this QR code and get to know more about the Yatra also. It's a platform for inspiring young entrepreneurs to understand and build India. And I'm more connected with them, setting their service design standards for their incubation centers in Devriya, in UP. So it's a good place where I keep getting connected after their 2016 interaction. On that Yatra, I made a sketch. You can see there's a train in the sketch. It has two locomotives, two engines, and they're pulling the train on either side. It's a choice that you have to take. You can go towards your own self goals where, okay, I'm very happy with my own life. I'm doing well. That's great. But that is light for yourself. So can you take things beyond yourself, go beyond the horizon, and look at becoming a light that can be for the world? So that was just a sketch that I did. A lot of people liked it, so they put it into one of the report that the Jagrati published. So I kept my kid alive all through the time. I play with these models. My son also sometimes jokes me, these are dad's toys, not his toys. But you'd still get a chance to do something about it. So when I was on a sabbatical coming out of Elxsi, I got a chance to actually design a complete layout, model layout, showing how integrated mobility works. So it has an interchange between a metro and a high-speed train. It has an interchange between a metro and a BRTS. It has cycle tracks. It has parking, everything, including a high street with the building which is having digital screens. I had fun making these models. So it was a nice time that I had when I was doing it. But still, there was something growing in my mind of what is the focus in which we will work. I stumbled upon this particular visualization by Alistair Reed. It's very interesting. You see his, scan the QR code, you will get to see his visualizations. You can see it's a density of people around in the world. And you can see all these spikes. You can see Mumbai has big, Kolkata has big, Chennai, Delhi. The entire northern belt of Ganges is very high in density and all the stuff. But this did not surprise me. What surprised and really made me think is this. Across the world, imagine the kind of density that we have, and imagine the kind of trips and the population that is going to travel in this country. Unless and until we build some shared systems in which people travel, you can't run this country by individual modes of transport, be it electric. There is no way you can do it. So something that actually was really eye-opening, and I was kind of slowly building that entire case at myself, that how exactly you justify the work that you're doing. That's where I will probably go into my 3.0 of what I am doing currently. So I've focused myself. So I reopened a studio which I closed in 2004 when I joined Philips Design. And I started doing work on mobility experience, continued what I was doing in Elxsi. I've started doing service design for small companies. There are 2-3 clients with which I'm working in a small way. I mostly work on public interest design and narrative experiences. Meanwhile, the BRTS map is being implemented and Dar es Salaam, and I've got a good feedback that people are able to locate and plan the trips and everything. So it's a complete system diagram that helps you to plan the journey. Now I've started a railways design center at my end. Frankly enough, I'm kind of connecting with the right set of people in discussion to set up studio for design for railways, be it on stations, be it in trains, be it systems, so there are certain projects that I'm under discussion. I'm also looking for collaborators who can join with me in this. So there's a lot of intent to go ahead. I'm making right connections. The more I talk about it at forums, the more confidence it develops in me that yes, I can do it and I'll get it there. So it's like a aspirational thing that I'm sharing with my fellow IDCNs, and I know a lot of them have played a very big part in my journey here. Right from my batchmates to a lot of friends beyond batches who have been colleagues in the office, and it's been a wonderful journey with all the IDC batchmates. And I just want to, what happens is it's like a promise that I'm making, that I've started a design center and I get more committed to do it as and when I get a chance to do it. So as I was working on metros and all the stuff, I think I'll tell this a story about when I moved to Pune in 2006. I was staying 40 kilometers away from Pune at Talegaon. I had never gone in the local buses. I started traveling in the local bus, slowly started looking at how the system works. And 2009, I approached them and said, let us clear and complete and put a good information system and make it legible. That was 2009. And I have done this chase for almost 13 years now. And at the time, I had no transport projects under my belt beyond the Delhi Metro. That was the only thing that I had under my belt, and other projects still had to happen. Whatever that you're talking about, the Bangalore Metro or the airports and things that I've done, all were yet to happen. So this was the first time when I went there and said, I think your entire system is blind. You really need to do something about it. And of course, the questions used to come back. So do you really know the system? Then I started traveling more and more in it, and not just out of the say that, okay, I have to make a project out of it. I started traveling. It actually started helping me to understand the network. And trust me, the bus network in Pune is very fabulous. People don't use it. That's the only problem, because they have not made it to be used, because they want to keep it blind. I don't know why, but that was a fight that I took up probably 13 years ago. So I used to keep documenting a lot, and a lot of people whom know me in the office, I was the guy who used to come almost 23 kilometers one way to the office in bus every day, though I had a car. I have even cycled to office many times over weekends. So I just thought of documenting what I actually do when I travel in a bus. So I kind of kept a track of things that I did over 127 days. And all those 127 days, I spent about, on an average, 135 minutes in the bus. What I did, I read a lot of books. I sketched, I drew. It was my me time. And that me time was so important for me to switch from what I was doing at home, then start coming in the office. Sometimes I've taken early morning calls with US sitting in the bus, where I just had to be a part of the call. A lot of times you don't have to kind of say something, but you have to be a part of the call. I've taken calls. But yes, that was like an extremely good thing that I was doing. Beyond that, I was extremely stress-free. Yeah, I didn't have to stretch along. I didn't have to worry of the traffic jams. Yes, it took me some more time. I got connected to the city more. I started observing city more. I knew where things were. If you're driving, you don't get to see what is happening around. I could see this shop has changed. This new building has come up. So there are a lot of things. So all this documentation I converted into a small note, and I got a chance to got it published in Springer. So those guys liked this article saying this is a very interesting thing that you're saying, and it got published in the Springer journal. So I kind of titled it Bus Sense. So it really makes sense for a person to travel in an urban transport bus. I used to keep doing simple interventions with them. And just like if they are painting that with hands, so I told them, okay, keep painting that. I'll just standardize the stuff. So I went to them and said, so this has happened over those last 13 years. I was continuously trying to connect with them and trying to approach them, saying, we'll do these things. So, and simultaneously, a lot of transport projects were happening. So one day I really get fed up, and I drew the sketch in my diary, which was, you can see the dates on my sketches also. This was in 2017, when I said, I don't need anything. Let's just give me a corner in your place, and I'll come and sit there for a day. And of course, I couldn't have done it when I was working, but the moment I stepped out of the company, I started doing it. And I just went there and told them that I'm coming here. Tell me the problems that you want to solve. They were first not ready to believe. They said, we don't have money. I said, I'm not asking you for money. Just tell me what problems you have. And then they told me, we have this particular bus stand. Can you make it a bit more beautiful and easy for people to use? So I went there and I found out problems in the operations. I found out how people were getting crowded on one place. So we restructured the route. We did some bit of changes on the operational side and implemented some very simple graphics over there. It was a very simple intervention. And it actually changed the way people looked at it. There were a couple of comments that really gave me a big confidence that all this thing is going in that right direction. Point number one, I did this with their team. It was not as if you give me the data, I'll convert it and we'll print it and we'll put it. No, I got the data. I sat with them and said, let us bunch these lines over here. You tell me the stops, because they know all the routes completely. So you tell me the stops, let us bunch them together. Let us put this entire information graphic in place. They checked it. They corrected my spellings. They said, no, this bus does not go there. They said, we have missed one bus. So they were also contributing. When I say they, the bus system people were contributing into this. And they started owning this entire thing. And when one of the person who I think was on some trip, I think in early part of January 2020, he came to these guys and says कि एक आदमी आया था, वो US से आया था, बोला अरे पुणे में तो बहुत अच्छा चेंज हो रहा है. And these guys next day called me saying अरे हमारे ये सब देख के people are appreciating it. And then one press reporter saw it and he came and appreciated my work. We had never gone to also press, and he published an article saying, okay, this is something that's happening. And one very interesting anecdote that came in was because we segregated the routes, the crowd reduced and pickpocketing stopped. Now I never knew, and that again, that guy also, when I used to keep going there in my early morning cycling thing, and that guy came, sir तुम्ही रोज येता ना, बघितलं तुम्ही काम करता ना, इथले आता pickpocketing कमी झालंय. And that's like pickpocketing has reduced. Why? By just doing little bit of design changes. It doesn't need a lot of intervention also. And all this was really appreciated. And then finally I got a chance to set up the design studio. So we have got a room in their office where we have started putting maps from across the world to make these people aware of how other systems are managing this entire information. And nowadays we've also got involved into structuring their data, which can go onto GTFS system and how it can be pulled to get maps and stuff like that. Now we do extensive discussions along with them, right from renaming the bus numbers, restructuring the routes, where they should stop, what is the data that you can pull out. And the lady in the red on the right top photograph is the joint managing director, and she is quite active and very helpful and has supported this entire exercise. Trust me, I'm not getting a lot of money into this. If I tell you that money that I'm getting, you all will laugh. But it's actually helping me to, what I can say is create some sort of a design sense into that entire system. So now they are coming up with problems. So when we started this, now they have started calling me into Google calls saying, these guys are not able to understand it. Can you join and help us restructure that data part? So something slowly it will start growing. And as we are saying that we did a roadshow to explain what we are doing as a part of design, like awareness creating. Then now this is a recent model that just it was made 2 days back. We have actually, there's an intern which is working on me. So we are standardizing all the bus stops across. I know there's no much innovation, but just getting it done in the system is a big innovation actually. And these are the maps that we are implementing, which I'm trying to work with a coder now to extract these maps. How I can tell you that these are the 5-10 buses. Can you extract line sequences out of it and then let's convert that to a graphic? That's happening. We are putting a lot of interchange maps across so people can know which are the various buses. We are trying to convert their image of the entire bus system from something that they expect that I will only go in a bus if it goes from point A to point B. No, that's not how bus systems will work. You should be able to make interchanges possible, visible, and much more comfortable. So we are actually through information ensuring that the interchanges are comfortable. So this is at Pune station. We have already implemented 3 pilots, one at COP hostel in Pune, one at Pulgate, and one at Pune station, and they're getting good reviews. Now we are trying to expand this across the city. I have an opportunity open for doing advertising on this. I'm looking for funding so that this funding will probably make this entire exercise sustainable. And then comes to the project that I did recently about 2 years back. We almost did this entirely through the pandemic, including 2 full-scale mock-ups done at one of the stations in Mumbai. So we created a complete brand guideline document, which includes branding, wayfinding signage, advertising, street furniture, like station furniture, art, how to manage art program in a metro, and also a guideline and a vision for the museum. So this guideline was issued in 2020, 2021, I think it was launched by the Chief Minister, and the stations are also launched recently last year. So some snippets of how that entire graphic, we have actually questioned. So I sometimes joke that when we did the Delhi Metro, we kind of set a framework or a DNA of how the science will happen in a metro system. And now that has been followed across all the metros that are happening in India. Now, here was a chance, it again was on my drawing table, and with my colleagues from the company with whom I was working as a sub-consultant, we said, let's question this. And then we created a completely new system of graphics. It actually tells you a story of how you travel to a metro train. So if you see the top one, which says A1 entry, you go down the escalator or a stair, scan your ticket and go down to the Churchgate metro station, and you will go into Aqua Line, which goes through the tunnel. And it's all linear signs everywhere. You can see that it works the reverse way around for the elevated station. So from the ground level, you go up and you take a lift and you go to the train. And that's like a pictorial signages that we have developed. And this entire sign system has been structured in a very modular way. It was complex to work out a modular system for it, but somehow we have been able to manage it. And it's already getting implemented in Mumbai. And you will see this signages across all the 13 lines, almost about plus 300 plus stations in Mumbai. So these are some images. These were implemented last one.
Sorry, go back to the previous slide and also tell about the bottom right extreme one, where you are also saying who is.
Yeah. So if you see the lift symbol always shows a lady with a kid, a wheelchair person and a person with a old person with a stick. So the lifts is meant for these three people. So you take the lift, go up on the platform 2 and go to the last station. And that's the last station. The next station will come in 20 minutes. So now, and this entire system has been kind of implemented. Thanks, Ravi, for just reminding me that. So it's a completely different way in which we have kind of looked at the science. So this is basically the way it has been implemented. So you can very easily see, if you're here on the extreme left, you can see there is a staircase symbol which takes you from that level to the upper level. You see a train on that line and it's a red line. So that means you're going on the red line. Then you will come across all these stations and that train connects to yellow line and continues ahead to Andheri. So now it's how this entire system has been visualized. It also shows other signs like ticket counters, and these are very standard signs, but they also use the same line as a theme. So the whole theme was, the story is about follow the line. And I think Mumbai will change in another 15-20 years and people will start following the lines. And it will just not become a linear city anymore. And that's what we are trying to establish through this entire line system. So of course, it uses exits and marks which areas you can walk to and everything. So it's a complete signage program that we kind of did. So hopefully it will grow further and get implemented, because there are a lot of challenges in, if you design a complex system, it becomes very difficult for sometimes the vendors to translate. So we are still working out on how it can be religiously and very well implemented. So in addition to all the transport, after I opened my design studio, I actually expanded my horizon to get into many things that I could actually do. So I'll just show very few slides on what I've been doing. This is an art which recently got completed last week in Goa. Anybody who travels to Goa on the main highway from Panjim to Old Goa, this is a big property that's happening on the left-hand side. And these two arts have been designed by me and one of my friend, and they are implemented. In the same property, we are also implementing a tall steel sculpture. It's basically flow of life. It's being implemented right now. Probably within next 15-20 days, we'll get to see some fabrication photographs, which I'll post on the shop, on my Instagram. Then I got a chance to tell stories about ISRO. So we worked with this startup called Indic Inspirations, and they that startup is actually trying to create souvenirs and artifacts telling stories about India. So everybody goes to US and wears a NASA t-shirt, and we said, why can't you wear an ISRO t-shirt? And that's something that drove me. And I went in 2016 to the museum of ISRO in Ahmedabad, and I came out and I said, it's very, very, very badly done. It's very unengaging. Of course, you have a lot of stuff, and the merchandise store was really bad. So I said, getting into museum, it will take time, but let me start with the merchandise. And I started figuring out and playing around with a wooden rocket model before even I got in touch with Indic Inspirations. When I started getting in touch with them, I said, okay, this is something that I want to do. We started this work, and it's like luck favors those who want to do things. We started this in January of 2020, last year, 21. And in February, ISRO came out with a note saying, whoever wants to do merchandise, please register. We are going to give you the rights. And that was like we were jumping with joy. And then we created a whole range of products, from simple like fridge magnets and caps and t-shirts to wooden rockets and scale models and a complete board game. So this is the most fastest selling t-shirt on that thing. So what we do is rocket science, says Indian Space Research Organization. It's like something that literally talks about their work. And this is me wearing our proud t-shirt. And we recently designed a game, and I was in a short jury last week with Professor Atwankar, and he took my jury in front of my family, saying, okay, this is a great chance. So I showed him my game, and maybe he might say something on this call if he's around. I don't know whether he's in this call or no. But this is a board game that actually has two levels. This is an entry-level board game, which probably will get expanded into larger competition-level games also. It starts on Earth, where you play, you collect resources, you have to build a rocket, and then you go to Mars and set up a colony. Now, the main challenge is to set up a colony, first colony, which is all connected. And all the things that you do here are based on scientific facts. that you can't launch in the specific time. You can only launch from the launch pads. When you go to the Mars, you have to build a connected colony, because in Mars, you cannot come out of one place and go to other place. A connected colony will work, which are the resource that you need. And on Mars, it's a more tactical, strategic way in which you have to be the first to occupy the right spaces to maximize your harvest. And in the Earth, it is more like a Ludo, which is like luck. So we have kind of mixed it as an entry-level game, because it's right now planned for kids from 10 standard, like 10 years ahead. But we will soon release a game, maybe 2-3 months down the line, only for more tactical, where you can do the play on the Mars. So that's the whole thing that we are doing. So this game is also interesting. It's been launched right now. You can go to indicinspirations.com and you can purchase this game right now. And this is the kind of wide things that I've been doing across. So I don't know, I'll just end my talk. I hope I'm on time. So I don't know whether everybody is able to see, but there are 2 lines that everybody sees, and I have been able to say that. Conclusion is left open. Whether you stand on one line or you stand on other line, whether you make a choice or you stand on both the lines. Somebody in the morning said they converge, but I said, "Oh, sab moh maya hai," they don't converge. It's all left to open, but this is what my journey has been. Maybe after 10 years, it could be 4.2 for Yogesh. I don't know what I'll show and I'll share, but that last line will always be there. I'll just enjoy the work that I'm doing. And this is where Jivak comes in. Jivak does a lot of photography somewhere and sends me these pictures and I paint them. So that's how you relax yourself at time also. So that's kind of end of my talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it and I was on time, and it'll be good to have a chat with you more. Thanks guys.
Sure, Yogesh. Great job. Fantastic. I know it's like a huge, shower of whatever. Fantastic. I think I'll open the floor for any comments, questions. You can just put your icon of that hand on so that I will know who has a question. Then yeah, there are some very exciting comments coming up.
I don't know. I'm reading some of them.
We can start with any questions people have. Please start posting them. Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Yogesh, about your railways, are you in HO scale? Which scale are you in?
HO scale.
HO.
Yeah. And they're all Bachman from US.
Yeah, I saw some of them, but I forgot which scale you are working in. HO is beautiful scale.
Yeah. And even that layout that I did near YE is also HO scale.
Nice.
It's crazy to say it's 1:87, but yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
It is open to public in YE?
It is open to public. So now it is opened after. So there's a ticket you can enter. It's in the Mapro Food Park nearby.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So about that game or the Indic Inspirations, is that your company, your startup?
No, so that's not my startup, but I'm quite closely connected to that startup from its inception. So we're basically kind of the design partners for them. And this entire game was an idea. So when we started the entire range of products, we said that let us can grab the space, put some easy products like in. So we also have t-shirts and caps and fridge magnets and all the stuff. They are very simple. But then we started getting more into, we also have a 52 fact card set, which actually explains the mission Mangalyaan. And it's a new format, which is not a book. And kids can actually just read 2-3 cards and keep it inside. So they don't have a pressure of reading all those 15 pages. And they can even split the book and read. So that's an interesting format.
Great. We have a question. Venkatesh, want to go ahead? Venkat?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Yeah. Thanks, Yogesh. It was a fantastic talk, and the range of projects and the level of work that you have done, with the large government organizations to the grassroots was really very inspiring. I hope that some of my students are listening in so that they can, get inspired from your work. I just want to ask you very pointedly about one thing that you mentioned as an anecdote about the bus stop redesign or design work that you did, right? And how you were not going about solving the problem of pickpocketing, but it so happened that you solved one problem of crowding that that unintentionally actually solved the problem of pickpocketing, that you realize it later on, right? So these are the nice things, byproducts of what you do, right? You solve one problem, it solves another problem that you're not even aware that it exists.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go too further into history. Harry Beck's metro map, for example, did it exactly that. I read that it eased the reluctance that people of London had about moving to the suburbs, right? Because geographically, the original map was too far away. The suburbs were considered to be too far away, but Harry Beck's map turned that perception around, and people saw a different version of London. Rather than it being 60 miles away, they said that it's only 10 stations away. That so it eased apparently the congestion in the center of London and encouraged the mass exodus of people to the suburbs. Which the planners were having difficulty in convincing people to do that. When the city was getting crowded. So that's a very nice unintended consequence, right? Now, what I want to ask you is that while we are happy about these good outcomes, there are also bad outcomes of our well-intended solutions. So we try to do this thing, but it might end up also causing some harm somewhere down the line. That now there are fields like economics, for example, who have a systematic way of studying these unintended bad consequences. In economics, there is a subfield which only looks at unintended bad consequences of even good economic policies, right? So, and as an educator, I'm interested in how to sensitize young designers about the unintended bad consequences of their well-intended and probably very good solutions. How do we keep our sensitivity open to that? Do we consciously do it? Do you do it consciously? Are you aware of some of the things that probably did not improve the system, or in some ways some part of the system actually suffered because of a good intervention?
I think there is an answer within your question, Venkat. When you say this was an unintended consequence, it never was on your radar or was on your paper or was on your part of insights or never as a part of your problem statement, right? You never intended to solve it. So it is very difficult for you to sometimes even notice them because you are actually trying to look in this direction, right? And that's the horizon which you want to solve. And sometimes the solution gets created in this side. So I think it's something that we should not get too much worried about, that, okay, there could be an unintended problem that might get created if you are in a position, and that happens to people who are in their early stage of practices, because their vision or they're looking at things and connecting the dots is narrow. They have not widened their vision. So if they are not able to connect a lot of dots, of course, there are a lot of areas where gaps are going to get created. And they should be in a position to say, okay, something that has happened, and put that into their horizon tomorrow. But if you say that, okay, can you list down unintended consequences? I think that will only come up after something has been put into the user system. Because the unintended consequences, either they are positive or bad, will only happen after the system is actually functional and put to use in people. Yeah. So I think we should not too much get worried about things, and should not also bog down students with that kind of a thought. Let them kind of think freely, come out with something. Of course, they should be told if there is any unintended consequences that come, how to handle that, right? Not really telling them in advance that you think of what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, that I understand. Yeah, can we go back retrospectively? Is there some way by which we can do this, more systematically? Is what I was wondering. Right? Do we do that as designers?
I think user testing is the only way you can do that. You put to user testing and check. That's why you do mock-up. That's why the whole design thinking process said that you do something, test it. Now, in my bus system project, I'm actually doing. So when you brought in that concept of the map, so when you get surrounded, or when you get really into something, you start seeing it everywhere. It becomes a part of your life. This is my mouse pad in my office. Yeah, this is my on everyday table. So what happens is, you in this Pune map also, I'm trying to convert the people's perception who are not even thinking, saying that on each calendar inside every home should have a map of the mobility system of the city. Why? I don't know. I want to have it there because we have already seen it working across the world. Secondly is the target that I'm looking at, a person coming out of Pune station decides to take a bus as a first choice. What do I need to do to make that happen? Now, that's not a problem that only I can solve. It needs a huge effort across multiple disciplines and multiple heads, multiple organizations, institutional collaboration. But yes, is that something good to have? Yes, that's something definitely good to have. And why not aim for it? Somebody has to start somewhere. Let me start it.
Okay,
That's that's how I should say.
Yeah, thanks, Yogesh. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, just I was tempted to add to Venkatesh's question, and also, I mean, there was something that was very exciting, which probably was lost in this in the presentation. Actually, Yogesh spent about 125 days traveling in a bus for an hour every day. I mean, he was actually priming himself for, a lot of unintended events to happen, because I think he's consciously absorbed a whole lot of things around him, and maybe it's not articulated while designing, but I think it's that enriched experience of the user for whom he's doing. He experienced it himself, and that was, when Venkat was talking about as an educator looking at the students, I think students need to look at user study in a perspective which is totally different. I mean, it is 125 days, 1 hour a day in a bus. I mean, what more research can you do? It's amazing. I just want to add that. Sorry.
Thanks.
Please go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
I'm not continuing the jury now.
Sorry, but it would be good if you can announce the results here across the whole forum.
Yeah. No, I do want to compliment you. The range of work that you have put in is enormous. And I also like the idea that you're working with public sector and successfully and influencing them. So that's a wonderful thing to do. It is not a question, but it's just a comment that I have, or a food for thought. I'm also an architect like you are, and we are all map-oriented people. So unless there is a map, we sort of can't figure out what's happening where and things like that. What is the future of map in the digital world? For instance, the way you see Google Maps is very different than the way you see printed maps. So it's something which I think all of us should address. I'm not just directing it to Yogesh, that maybe the future of map is going to be very, very different. Or maybe there is no map at all, because the directions might come in audio the way you drive in US. There are just simply directions which come one after another. So you don't develop a map at all. So, and I think this is something which should actually worry us, because we have to actually take that direction. How do you, if there's going to be a society's loss because maps are not there, then it's a different story. But perhaps the new kind of map should be even qualitatively better.
Yeah, I think that's, sir. I've already listed down some 5-6 topics. Out of that, there's one for the PhD. So I kept writing something, and this is definitely cropped up that because our cognitive ability of wayfinding using a Google map has become assisted, and we have started believing less in the physical world around us and more on the digital. It's like that the lady in the Google started telling me, keep away from that flyover and take the slot left. Okay, so so there are these lot of things coming up across your way, but the larger part of research is it affecting our cognitive ability to assimilate space? Because within Pune, when I say to anybody who has been in Pune since his childhood and say, okay, you are in Deccan, tell me which direction is Kondwa. He is clueless. He absolutely is clueless, right? And that doesn't happen in places where mobility maps have become a static thing, which is always in front of you. Now, whether it comes in digital or static, at least static has an orientation. So it's a part of research, and I think you have already triggered me, so maybe I'll work on it.
Just one comment that I have seen different gender differences between the way map is used.
Yes, there is.
Men tend to use more special kind of thinking than women. That's the difference that I have noticed.
If you read that book, sir, men are from Mars and women from Venus, that author has tried to decipher what does this mean. And I always tell my students also to read it, because it tells you a lot of things about these two genders. Why women are more good into multitasking and why men are not good into multitasking. That's also one of the very good outcome of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions from the forum? We got 4 minutes to go, and yes, Mahesh, go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Very motivated seminar. Sir, we are in the beginning in the designing field. So how would be our mentality like yours, and how to observe things in details? In designing field, observation is most important. So how to observe things in details?
And Yogesh, you have 20 seconds.
Okay. I'll just give you a very simple answer. You have these things. These are some old stuffs which have been made for so many years. Okay. This is called notebooks or sketchbooks, right? If you record things from your brain into this, or what you've seen into brain into this, it keeps getting recorded and becomes your observation. Simple. No rocket science.
Yogesh, I'm already following your advice. That's 100% golden advice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Simple tools.
No. Thing aside, Mahesh, you certainly can connect with Yogesh.
Yeah.
For more detailed discussion. Definitely. I mean, I'm sure Yogesh will be willing to help you.
Yes, sure.
Yes, Mahesh. You can take my number, and then definitely I'll just put my number here and just call me.
Okay, sir. I definitely.
Thanks a lot for everyone who have joined. It was a pleasure sharing my work.
We have 2 minutes, so probably there is time for 2 more questions. I mean, I'm very tempted to ask you, somewhere in the passing in your presentation, you spoke about being in the rhythm. I don't know, it kind of did something to me. Can you briefly say what is that state?
That state is sometimes when you're looking for something and you kind of chasing something and you get that in your hand. Okay. So you have a certain sense of accomplishment that, okay, I was chasing it and I have it in my hand. And at that time that you already were extremely burdened, stressed out, whether I'll get it and not get it. And when you get it in your hand, there's a certain sense of energy that comes into you. There's a certain set of rhythm that comes into you. And then you are ready to take on everything. So I will give you a story on this. I still remember we started working on the metro in Bangalore, and I got a call from one of my friends who says, the airport team is looking for designers. Can you go and meet them? The next day, I was sitting in the airport office and talking to them, what is the requirement, right? We were already too much loaded with the metro work, but still I was sitting in their office and saying, okay, what do you want me to do? They said, this is what we want you to do. I said, it is straight away coming up my way where I can deliver. I came back and the team said, we are just 7 people. We can't deliver or take on another airport. I said, no. Tawa garam hai, hum log kar sakte hain. And we did that. So that's the rhythm that you find. Yeah, you don't ask 10 questions and you don't ask why, if, but, and this and that. You just jump into it because you know it's difficult to come. And so that's why when you get a rhythm, you go into that flow and then you can be at peace.
As we are so close to IPL, so it's about the batsman form.
Yeah, right. Then any ball can come. I can hit it.
Fantastic. Okay, we are exactly 10, and Yogesh, I mean, thanks a lot. And first of all, I should thank all the attendees of the session today. Really, really a good turnout. And after all, the attendees actually make the session. So if at all the event, the credit goes to people who attend first. I mean, because they've made it a choice amongst many other things that they have to do to choose to spend their time here is amazing. And on behalf of all of us, I thank them. And of course, the forum cannot happen without the speaker. And then Yogesh has taken extensive care over the last few weeks to put this presentation together. I mean, I'm sure he used this as a tool to introspect and also share and expose the kind of thought that has gone into making his whole career and as well as where he's heading. I'm sure he will get a lot of support and people will be willing to collaborate based on this talk of this. So big thanks to Yogesh, and of course my fellow volunteers, Nimish to start with, and also the two very busy YouTubers we have, Rajagopal Menon and Rakesh Sharma, Rahul Sharma, who have been taking care of the YouTube. So I should thank a big thanks to them. And Yogesh, I'm sure that there's going to be a 4.0 soon.
We'll meet in another 5-7 years, maybe.
The session of today's would be available in video. We will get that circulated tomorrow. And as usual, talks are coming up next week, and we'll keep you posted. And thanks to everyone. Have a great rest of the week, and good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much, Yogesh.